Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we are making Scotch eggs. As you can see, it's in the video intro here. It's two different types of Scotch eggs. You have the fish option, which is to the right, and the beef option, which is to the left. People like beef and fish as well, so I decided to just incorporate the two into this video. I also often use this when I cater for events, especially for like the hors d'oeuvres, and it's an easy, healthy option that could replace a meal in your menu on a daily basis. My kids also like this, so I frequently make it. So here are eggs, which will be cooked for, I would say, 5 minutes, 5 to 8 minutes, because you don't want to overcook them, guys. You will have to cook them again when you are making the Scotch eggs. And we're going to jump into the coatings. So I will start by making the fish. In the fish, I do use diced onions, diced tomatoes, and maybe blended garlic, ginger. It's kind of optional, guys. Whatever you decide to use in your fish filling would work based on preferences, what people like. But I like my fish tasty, so I do use quite a bit in it, especially when it comes to the tomatoes and onions. So we are done with the dicing, and we'll get right into the fish preparation. A little bit of olive oil in a pot. I would say for this fish it wasn't small, so I would say like a 1/4 cup of olive oil. That's what I used in this recipe. Let the oil heat, and then you saute your tomatoes and onions. So for the fish, I'm introducing the fish into the sauteed tomato and onions while it's still cooking. For the fish option, today I used filet tilapia and salmon. So it's two different types of fish that I use. Sometimes I would use tilapia, but it does take a lot of work to fillet the tilapia, get out all the bones and stuff like that. So I do get lazy sometimes, guys, so I just go with the options that have already been filleted in the store, so I don't have to go through all that work. And like I said, you make it to your taste. I just added a little bit of diced celery sticks, just for some more flavoring. And we'll just let this cook for a while. I'm gonna add in a little bit of Knorr powder. We call it powder Maggi. A pinch of salt. I would say kind of like half a teaspoon of salt. I don't like too much salt in food, so I kind of feel like that should be enough. Now we have our garlic and ginger paste. And we let it simmer. One of my secret ingredients is fennel seeds. So I'm gonna crush a few, that's like a teaspoon or less of fennel seeds. It makes a whole difference in the coating. Like the way the fish tastes, just the fennel seeds alone makes a whole lot of difference in it. So at this point, the fish is cooked already. I'm just waiting for the water that comes with the fish to evaporate a little bit. And at this point, I think I'm getting to my goal. And the whole process took maybe like 10 to 15 minutes for everything to blend into what is looking now and evaporate. Then the next step is getting a food processor. For those who don't have a food processor at home, you can just use something to really smash the filling to be fine. Because I have a food processor, I can process that fish in there to get a more finer and smoother texture. A blender would not really be ideal because it's gonna blend it into a paste. That's not the goal here. We're not trying to blend it into a paste. We're just trying to get a more smoother texture, so when you coat your eggs, it looks smooth. Do that quite a few times, maybe like 3 rounds in a processor, and it should be ready to go. Our fish is ready. So the eggs were ready as well, peeled already. Now we're gonna get into the beef. In my bowl, I have 2 options. Sometimes I do ground turkey, ground chicken, or just ground sausage. And sometimes some people use beef. In the recipe today, I'm doing ground sausage. So I added a little bit of salt, chicken bouillon powder, again some fennel seeds, guys. This makes a lot of difference in how it's gonna taste. Mix everything together. It's ready. So in the process of Scotch egg, you always need eggs that are beaten in a bowl. because you're going to have to use that for your coating as well. So here are the items: your beef, your fish that has been processed, eggs. You have eggs on the side, beaten eggs on the side. And one thing I did not show you guys is breadcrumbs. I do use breadcrumbs to coat the Scotch eggs. So now I'm in the process of coating the egg with the fish filling. So you just place the fish on the egg and just go around until it gives you that smooth looking shape. Not very complicated, very easy. So I'm done with the fish coating. I'm gonna get into the beef coating now. Same process, not complicated. Some people like to put their egg in flour before they coat it with the meat of choice, but I go straight into coating it with the meat. I do not really think the process of putting it in flour before coating it is necessary. To me, it's just an additional step that is not really useful. So we are done coating our meat at this point. So here is breadcrumbs. Some people like homemade breadcrumbs. I get mine from the store, and the brand that I use in my bowl here is Panko. It's just plain Panko breadcrumbs. Plain, no seasoning in it, just plain the way it is. So I would coat the eggs into, I will coat the fish, or whatever I call it, the Scotch egg that's already been coated with fish. I'll coat it one time into the breadcrumbs before I introduce, same thing with the beef, before I introduce my egg wash for the second layer of coating. So just pay attention to what I'm doing right here. Pay attention to what I'm doing right here. So all done with the first coating. So now I'm going to get the egg that has been beaten in a bowl. So I have one dry hand and one wet hand, and I try to keep it that way because it gets very messy if you don't separate a dry hand from a wet hand. I'm just going to go through that same process with all the already beef coated eggs. So all done with the fish. At this time, I'll get into the sausage. Same process, guys. And you can do this over and over based on how thick you want your coating to be. I do not like a thick coating. That's just excess carbohydrate. So I try to limit it to 1 or 2 coatings. So I'm done at this point, so I can compromise my hands like both dry and wet. I'm almost at the end of the entire coding process. So I did a double coating with this one. You can go up to 2-3 times. You can go up to 3-4 times depending on how much thickness you want on your egg. And here we are at the end of the coding process, just making it smooth, and so that when I deep fry it, I don't have too much particles falling out of that into the pot. So we jump right into the frying process. Some people will bake it. Sometimes I do bake it in the oven depending on how healthy I want it to be, but today I'm going to deep fry it. Oil is hot at about 350, and I will fry each Scotch egg for about 8 minutes, 4 minutes on each side, and then I flip it over. So it's been frying for like 2 minutes. I want it to be evenly cooked. So here is when it's like, I would say approximately 4 minutes. I have like 4 more minutes to go. And here we are at 8 minutes of frying. Look at that golden brown. That's where you want, that's how you want your color to look like. I mean, maybe for the very first time it might not have the exact same color, but that's about what you want it to look like before you get it out of the pot. So I did 2 batches of frying. I did the fish and I did the meat. That's the sausage. For the fish, maybe 8 minutes. It's not very necessary sometimes, but for the meat, you have to, because it's uncooked meat, you have to make sure you cook it for at least 8 to 10 minutes. At least 8 minutes, so that meat inside can be properly cooked. And here we go. The meat option is ready as well. So we are done with the frying. We will get into the tasting, and here are my Scotch eggs. Look at how beautiful they look at the end. And there's no particular sauce that goes with this. People eat with different things. I eat mine with habanero sauce, which we call it pepper sauce. So here is how it looks like. That's the fish option, and here is the meat option. So you have the fish to the right and the meat to the left. You see it's just lightly breaded. I eat mine with pepper sauce. You can eat it with anything. Thank you for watching. I hope you like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.